This is your official Leguizamarama spoiler warning. If you have not seen Paraiso Travel, awful pronunciation, I do apologise. But if you've not seen that film, a 2008 drama, and you've always wanted to see it, don't listen to this podcast because we are going to give away everything. And I mean every nitty-gritty detail. Oh, I'm going to spoil the shit out of this film. Enjoy the episode.
Peace. I hate the word.
Hello and welcome to Mish and Zach's Leguizamarama, a podcast where each week two friends watch everything, well, one thing, starring their favourite character actor, John Leguizamo, up until the point where we have watched everything. I'm one of those two friends. My name is Zachary Ruane, and my favourite movie about trying to get across borders...
Oh, yep.
Probably the same as Mish's favourite movie about trying to get across borders, or that has scenes about trying to get across borders, would be Children of Men.
That's exactly what I was thinking
you can say
about.
That as well. I'm joined as always by Mish Wittrup, whose favourite movie about crossing borders or with scenes about crossing borders is Children of Men. And we're also joined by Tom Armstrong, Tom Zachariou. Sorry, I dead named you.
It's all right.
Is it Zachariou?
Yeah.
What?
That's too much like my name.
No, that's the movie I like about crossing borders.
Oh,
Sakari.
I thought you were saying.
I thought you were saying your name was Zachariou.
That threw me off because it's been years of me calling you
You've never
the incorrect name. You've never corrected us.
I just wanted to get it out there. That's
It's
the
not
movie I like.
Zachariou.
I've actually seen a movie, you know.
Do you know
I've
what's
never seen
crazy?
movies.
Do you know what's crazy? And this is
How do you
very
actually
high
say
on my list.
Sicario or something? I don't know.
I think you've just combined my name, your last name, and the name
some
of the
movie you saw once.
No, it's a great film.
Sicario?
I thought that's how you said it.
Let me have a look.
But you said Zachariou
Yeah, probably because I was thinking of my name.
because I spaced it out.
Because we were talking about my name, but I wanted to let you know that that's my favourite film about crossing borders.
That's a film. This is a crazy. That's probably highest on my list that would shock people that I haven't seen.
Really?
Oh, wow.
There you go. It is really fantastic. I think it might have aged poorly. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it for a while,
No,
but
he's a great director.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fantastic. It's just never happened, you know.
It's a great film and it's mindless enough that I enjoy it, you know?
Oh, that would surprise me if it's mindless.
Well, in the sense that
Yeah.
I think you could put your own depths to it. You can sit back and just watch it as a boring action film or as a mindless action film if you want.
And
Yeah.
that,
You can
Tom,
think a bit more about
9
it.
times out of 10, in my opinion, is the best kind of film.
Yeah.
I love The Thing for that reason. I love Mad Max Fury Road for that reason. I love a movie that is full to the brim, but then executed really simply.
Yeah.
I love that. So I should watch the film.
Yes, you'd like it.
Shall I hit you
Mish,
up with that sweet blurb?
Hit us up.
Okay. Paraiso Travel is a 2008 drama film directed by Simon Brand. It tells the story of Marlon and Raina, a young, loved-up Colombian couple who, with a lot of persuasion from Raina, make the big move from their comfortable Colombian town through Mexico and Guatemala to the heart of New York City. When Marlon and Raina have an argument upon arrival in the city, Marlon goes down to the street for a ciggy. He is confronted by 2 police officers and he then runs away from them, unable to communicate in English, and he's completely aware of his illegal status in this country. As he runs through New York, he realizes that he has no idea where he is and he has lost his girlfriend and the place that she is staying. The film follows Marlon as he navigates the big city through homeless shelters, nightclubs, some really delicious-looking restaurants, and the streets of Jackson Heights, all in search for his love. John Leguizamo plays Roger Pena, Marlon's new roommate, who is really unhinged, charismatic, menacing, and a kink photographer. He also has a Boston Terrier named Demon. This one was sort of a hard one to find, and I'll be completely honest with you, was one of those ones that I hadn't really given much thought to. It was just one of the movies that we had to watch. And I went in with 0 expectations for this film.
I went in with some expectations because you said you'd watch it. You said, make sure you watch it proper. And then I didn't have time and then I got an allergic reaction. So I was like, quite literally, lying on my couch for the last hour of it. Lying on my couch with one of my eyes fully puffed up, the other eye like glooby with tears. Needing to nap, just needing to have a nap as the movie played in 1.5 speed. And I was just like,
Oh, Zach.
So I didn't really get...
And it's a foreign language film, so it's not like you could even really listen
I was
to
trying to read the subtitles quickly. But the visually was quite nice.
I really liked this movie.
Yeah, I wish I'd watched it.
Genuinely, I thought that this movie was good. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. I don't know if it hit me at the right time to be watching it. I actually watched the vast majority of it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, because
But then finished it off last night. And I had been waiting
like
because
lasagna.
Yeah, like some delicious leftover. Yeah, exactly. Just like a delicious lasagna. Because I didn't want to finish it 2 weeks ago because I didn't want to I wanted it to be fresh in my mind for the pod. And I'd been looking forward to finding out what happened at the end. They make some really bold choices in this movie. And it's a movie that could have been done really badly, I think. Like, I think it could have been quite poor. But it wasn't. I thought it was a really, really interesting love story, I suppose. Quite a tragic love story, but a really beautiful telling of it, I think. And I just thought it was very, very interesting.
I'll also say I was I was like, Simon Brand, why? That sounds British. Why is there some dude directing a Colombian movie? But I looked him up just now, and I believe it's Simon Brand.
Oh, I apologize.
No, because I read it as Simon Brand. I read about the movie.
He hasn't done much. He's only directed 3 films.
But he's directed he's directed over 200 TV commercials.
Oh, really?
And also directed music videos for Paulina, Rubio, Talia, Juanes, Shakira, Alejandro Fernandez, Enrique Iglesias, and Ricky Martin.
Look at him go.
She bangs.
She bangs. That's a good song. And I believe it's the person who wrote this film, or actually wrote the novel that this film is about as well. But no, I just thought it was a really, really well done film. I thought that the telling of it was really, really interesting, and I thought that the Marlon character was really full, quite sad, like very like throughout the whole thing, but really, really full. I have some real opinions on the Raina character, though.
Oh, yeah.
I have some big opinions on her, but I wanted to, before I had my opinions on her, because they're very strong, I did want to premise this with, I really liked. I thought it was a really good film, and I was really invested in it.
Yeah.
Also, sorry to interrupt.
No, that's
before
okay.
I forget, I thought that the way that this film captured New York, and then in doing this podcast, we've watched so many New York-based John Leguizamo films. I thought that this film really captured New York beautifully. Jackson Heights really, really well. You got a real kind of feeling for that community in New York, which is a community I don't know much about, and having never been to New York, but I felt like that was really, really clear here as well. And yeah, I definitely would recommend this film. What were you saying? Sorry, before I interrupted you.
No, I was going to say, I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool seeing a story of like immigration from the perspective. Now, I have seen this before, but from the perspective of the immigrants. Mm-hmm. I loved that. I think I've seen a lot of American movies about people coming to America, but it's that these movies exist. It's just rare that I've seen them. Seeing a Colombian movie about Colombians going to America, seeing it from their perspective, seeing the alien thing not being them but being America, was an interesting kind of thing. So talking about New York, it was interesting to see New York as alien, like that very first moment 100%. Where he pops up, and it's kind of because you see them like from above, and you're like, where are we? And I remember thinking, now maybe I was not really, but it's like I remember thinking we were in South America, thinking we were in. And I felt like that was very deliberate. It opens with these sort of over-the-head shots of these really small rooms, really grimy kind of...
it's a great opening shot as well.
Yeah. Like, it's hard to describe. It's this sort of space that people are in, but tiny little rooms. And you're like, where is this?
They look like cupboards, yeah.
Yeah, where is this? This must be somewhere in Colombia or somewhere in South America. This is so... And then he steps out and you realise you're in...
Yeah.
Jackson Heights,
yeah.
Yeah, you're in New York, and that's such a shock. It's such a shock to be like, I know, and I just thought that was really cool. It reminded me very, very, very strangely. There's a movie by Ang Lee called Love Something, about like a Chinese spy that falls in love with a guy, and it's like there's this moment where she speaks in English, and it's this really strange thing because it's set during a war and something. and like she speaks English at one point, and it's this strange moment where it's like I've been so in her world, and I've been reading the subtitles, I've been so in their world that I've seen the British characters and the American characters as foreigners. And then I suddenly see her speak in English, and it throws me. It throws me. It's just a really interesting thing to see it from that perspective.
100%.
I thought it was cool. Now, Mish.
Yeah.
I cannot think what thoughts you could possibly have about this.
Well, look,
Character.
So, really?
Yeah, I thought she was hot. I loved the way she dressed.
Yeah. The way she talked about her body and how she got what she wanted.
She dressed in ways that like really showed off how good her body was.
Yeah.
And provoked positive feelings for me as a man.
So, no, I would have to. I'm going to break this down. So, we have spoken about this numerous times on this podcast. Is the ability to watch something for the time in which it was made, right? So I understand that times have changed, but this has nothing to do with that. This is about the creating of a character, like the characters, and I do feel like the effort put into the Marlon character, and he's a very full, like you feel for him. When he gets lost, you feel that. When he's trying to find a job, you feel that. Like he's very, very full of his love for his family. And he has this wild love, this committed loyalty to this Raina woman that he met. And granted, they show like when they got together and stuff like that. When he sees her, it's like she's hot, and she is. Raina is babe. But then that is her character from the start is hot woman will stop at nothing to get to New York.
Yeah, but bitches be crazy.
Thank you, Zach.
Sorry to be very clear. That may have sounded like I was being ironic. I need to be very clear. Bitches do be cray.
No, in fairness,
Sorry,
but Raina was written as a cray bitch. She's just a cray bitch, right? But no, truthfully, like I've not seen it so blatant of we don't need to work too much on her, right? There was no sympathy. She was a villain. She was the villain in this movie. Like she was using him from the start to get to New York, and she used her body to do it. She enticed him sexually.
Leguizamo plays from top. Sorry, this is so inappropriate.
And then they get to New York, and she's just a bitch. She doesn't care for his wants and needs because she's just a bitch. And then at the end, like spoiler warning, obviously, at the end, when he's like, I finally found you, and she's just like, why don't you go, literally she says this, why don't you go kill yourself?
Oh my God.
10 times or something throughout the movie. It's like this big, like, I don't even care if you do. She's just this awful person. It's like, I just wanted so badly to get more from her. However, no, full stop. That was like, truthfully, she needed more.
Can I say, before you're however, let's talk to that for a minute. I want to just be very clear. Yes, I agree. I think there's this very funny thing where I don't think characters should not be like that. I just think, because there are bad. I think there's something. It's important for women to be able to play bad people, but it's also so. I think it's not. But it's it's that lack of subjectivity.
It's the complexity. Of course, women can be villains. I
fully agree with you.
It's watching movies made by men where they create this female character who is so one-dimensional. There is no effort put in. Truthfully, this movie was really good, and it pissed me off so much.
No, I fully feel you on that.
It's all the time. Like, of course, I'm not trying to say, I'm sure that she was actually the victim. No, it sounds like she used this man to get to New York.
Totally.
But there was no complexity there. It was the most one-dimensional. This woman was born to use a man to get to New York. That's
not even that. Not even that. Like, she was born for him to have the experience of being used to go to New York.
Yes.
It's that object versus subject thing. It's that she's in it so much. She's in every scene. And it's like, don't not make her that, but ask, why does she use her body? What is her life culturally?
Exactly.
Why is she manipulative? I fully agree with you on that. I'll say, this is the thing I'll say. because I was just joking with all that stuff before. I'm right.
You quite like bitches. You actually think bitches are okay.
Oh, yeah, I said that, didn't I?
Yeah.
All right, cut that. Let me know. Let me know when I'm of sound mind. Check in with me. I think it was clear I was joking. This happened before I was hay fevery. She's dressed very provocatively in her first scene back when we were in Colombia. She's dressed in like a white shirt and a short tartan skirt.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the way to articulate
I'm trying to think
this.
beyond that for a second. I'm just trying to get my head around that other things were happening.
Apparently what she was saying was a problem. I'm struggling to get your point.
Oh,
No, please let me finish my point. I can't end on that. It's one of the clearest examples I've ever seen where I was like, I just as an audience member, I was like, look, like I was just like, I've never been more aware of like, I can't even articulate it. Like, because she was a character that dresses for male attention, right? Mm-hmm. But even with that, there was something about how she was dressed.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I've never seen a character in a film that's sort of going for naturalism. I've never seen a character where I could see that it was a male director that chose the outfit.
We'll go to an ad break because I know we're long overdue that.
I forgot.
But after, can we come back to this thought because I have really good stuff to say. People are going to want to stick around for this. Okay. And we're back. Zach, sorry, please continue what you were saying.
Just that. What was I saying? I was just saying about the outfit. It was something about, even though it was someone dressing for male attention, it didn't look like someone dressing for male attention. It looked like an outfit chosen by a man. As a man, didn't have a problem with the outfit, but as a person trying to watch, I did. But as a person trying to watch the film, believe the character, buy the character, I did struggle with.
It felt like there was no effort put in it. Like literally, she goes, "Baby, I want to go to New York," and he's like, "Oh, I can't afford that." So she sits on a pool table and hikes her skirt up a little bit and goes, "Please," and he comes over and goes, "Okay," and they have a kissy. And 5 minutes later, she's like, "Well, we're going to need some money for that," and he's like, "But I don't have any money." And so she sits up on the pool table, lifts her skirt up a bit, and goes, "Oh, but please." Like it was just like, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll get some money for that."
Can I ask you a genuine question, Mish? This is, I don't know if this is a me thing. It's like, it's something as a man I probably struggle to see. Like, what is it about that outfit, do you think? Because do you agree with what I'm saying about the outfit? What is it about that outfit? What's the difference between an outfit chosen by a man versus an outfit chosen by a woman to attract a man? Like, what do you think as from a woman's perspective?
No, that's hard for me because I genuinely have never really
dressed for a man.
No, and I've never had to think about it like that. Like, it's really interesting because, and this is not a fishing thing at all. This is not at all. This is just a truth. I've never been in a position where I've been encouraged to dress for male attention. Like that's just not how my body has been perceived my whole life, right? So I've never had to worry about it or think about it. So what you've said I believe to be true, but I don't know why.
I've got a theory.
Okay.
I've got a little theory, right? All right, and this is just because I was just like, it was interesting. It sparked something for me. Two things. I remember I saw this documentary once about the woman who was the costume designer for Sex and the City.
Yeah.
She ran an iconic sort of store in like a gay neighborhood in New York. She was like a stylist, and then she became a costume designer. And one of her approaches, I think I may have talked about this before. One of her approaches was when she can, she'll go for a day of shopping with the actor. So she'll go shopping with the actor because it's her belief that she's like, yes, I'm dressing a character. Yes, it's ultimately the director's choice. But a character would choose clothes that they're comfortable in. A character would choose clothes that they want to wear. So the actor has to be comfortable in the clothes. So she'll go shopping with the actor and kind of collaborate with them for a day, and then she'll start like sourcing clothes and doing it the more traditional way. And I think there's just this element, right, where she was being dressed to accentuate her positives, or she was being dressed in a way for the male gaze, right? Whereas all people, even people that are dressing to be observed, often dress for their insecurities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. It wasn't much how she was dressed, though, that bothered me at all.
No, this is a separate. I'm not saying that that's what bothered you. It was just something that sparked. I was like, why is this? Why am I seeing this? What's going on here? It's just something that like sparked my interest.
Yeah, no, fair.
And I think it's that. I think it's that most people dress more, even beautiful people dress more around their insecurities, to cover their insecurities, not to accentuate. Or if they accentuate their positives, it's still there's a layer of insecurity to how they dress, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, that's interesting. I've not thought about that.
It just sparked something for me. I was like, why do I know this wasn't chosen by the actor? It was just a real like nugget for me. Anyway,
so
carry
fair.
on.
No, so
fully
fair.
agree with you on everything you're saying.
But as I was watching the movie, so there's one thing I want to say though. There was this one scene about 2/3 of the way through, because they do little flashbacks to their journey to New York, and it's the day before they arrive in New York, and they're staying in like some sort of piece of shit motel, right? And he's sleeping and she's watching him sleep. And he wakes up and it's the first time you ever see any form of like love that she has towards this man. And it's really sweet. She's watching him with pure love. And he says that he had this incredible dream. I just wrote it down actually because I thought it was just really well written and said much more beautifully when done in Spanish. But where is it? So he's having a dream. He said he had a dream that he went to the toilet and he was shitting out fish. And she was laughing at the dream and he was just like, yeah, it was really confusing. And she's like, did you flush the toilet? And he's like, no, of course not. I woke up before I flushed the toilet. They were just kind of swimming around in there. And then he goes to her, what do you think it means? And she goes, I think it probably means that not everything inside you is shit. And I thought it was really lovely. And then they had sex.
They did.
Yeah, and it was hot. But I would like to say just very quickly on the Raina stuff, the dressing for the male gaze and not even that. The complex of not being a one-dimensional.
You did a however.
Yeah, however. No, the however was there was a moment where during the dream, that dream scene, I really loved that. I thought that was such a really beautiful, weird, funny moment between these two people that love each other. Anyway, I think a really good example of a character that is there to support the man's journey and being a character created for the male gaze that is there to be appreciated by men, but is so much more than just a one-dimensional sex thing. And I think it's a combination of script, character, and actor like portraying it. But I think I've got it I've got it right. It's Brittany Murphy in 8 Mile.
Yeah.
Which I think is such a phenomenal performance. I think she does incredible. She is literally, if you break it down what her character is, she is there to fuck Eminem and then, the spoiler warning for 8 Mile, fuck Eminem and then fuck another guy who's in a different like group than him, right? And kind of fuck him over a little bit. But there's so much more to it. But she's dressed to appeal to men. Everything she says, that she fucks him like the first time she meets him in the license pressing place, whatever. She's there for the male gaze, but there is a complexity to her character. There's more there. There's why she got there, how she got there.
There's an element as
of
well.
environmental like impact. Whereas this Raina character was.
But to talk about Brittany Murphy, I just think that's a really cool point. Is that it's like that. She's a character that exists within a world where her power is in the male gaze, and she exists within a world where it's exactly that. She's choosing to dress that way because that's how she can have power in a world where she has where no one has any power.
Yeah.
Everyone's very powerless in that world.
Yeah.
It's about. I remember I felt
it's
that way.
It's a survival thing almost.
I felt that way about Mad Men, right? Where I was like, when I first saw Mad Men, where I was like, you don't have to create women that are unrealistically empowered in a world. If it's a world with hierarchical systems, if it's a world with sexism, you don't have to create women that are unrealistically girl boss. And that was in an era where there was a lot of girl boss characters. You just have to show complete human beings within that system. That's the trick. That's the art, is how do you show their wholeness, their humanness. You don't even have to give a reason, I think, for why they're doing what they're doing. You just have to have more scenes like the one you just described. Show them in their wholeness, in their totality.
Just so, I'm so glad they had that was there. I was just so glad that was there.
But it's so cool. You're right about 8 Mile. There was another one that I got thinking about when you were talking about, which is Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah. Yes.
But Kramer versus Kramer is weird. Because Kramer versus Kramer, Meryl Streep adds depth to a character that the writer nor the director has depth. So then at the end of the movie, have you ever seen Kramer versus Kramer, Tom? I watched it for the first time recently. I was like, oh, this is a complex question of who should get the kid. And then at the end of the movie, she's like, you should have the kid because I am a horrible witch. Yeah. And I'm like, what?
It's so weird. It's so weird.
And it's like, but it's because she adds depth to the character. So that line between performance and... Great point about Brittany Murphy. Great call.
Thank you so much. I know we have a heart out, so we can't really talk about John Leguizamo at this point. But his character was bizarre, really strange, really fun. I wish we could talk about him a little bit more. I might do a little tidbit at the end of this or something like this on my thoughts on John Leguizamo.
Do you want me to just leave and then you can talk about John Leguizamo?
No, not at all.
No, but I feel like that's better than if you have
No,
thoughts.
you don't leave. Don't be silly. What's your Leguizamo rating?
3.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gets 4.5 from me.
Yeah, totally fair.
I think it was just a really fitting role for Johnny Legs. Leg was a more please or leg was a no for you, Tom?
It doesn't sound like too many laughs.
No, trust me, mate. There's a couple of scenes there.
I reckon you actually could probably.
So leg was a no to me.
I'll give you the time stamp.
No, that is the most teenage boy shit I've ever heard in my life. I think I've been terribly sexist this episode. I want to issue an apology in advance. I was joking.
You're not sexist. You've got an allergic reaction to some pollen outside.
And I was just going for the bit every time.
Thank you so much for listening to Leguizamarama this week. I personally recommend watching this if you're into that kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing next week. How do we usually sign these off?
I got a different example.
You've got to go.
I got to go. I'm just going to say Heat. Heat is about a man's world, but the female characters are beautifully acted, beautifully written.
Yeah, they're out there. There's just a lot that aren't either.
No, most of them aren't, but it's those examples are cool.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. What's that?
No, we're just saying bye now.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. It's Mish again. Zach has now left the room, but I felt weird leaving this podcast having not said anything about John Leguizamo because this is a Leguizamo podcast, and some of you out there, for real, listen because you're a fan of him. There's truly a pocket of people out there that listen to this podcast because they're Johnny Legs fans, and I don't want to do a disservice by completely skating over the fact that I thought he was wonderful in this movie. His character is this strange housemate kind of character, right? Who's a kink photographer who, in order to get payment from Marlon... Oh, hello, Tom.
Hey.
Oh, is this being filmed as well?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
YouTube is... the visuals are the podcast now, Mishy.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, they're one and the same.
Oh, great. I'm just going to try and convince you that you should see this film, I suppose.
Okay.
No, I don't want to do that, but I want to explain what John's like in this film. So he plays Marlon's roommate, right? And for Marlon's payment for rent is he dresses up in gimp get-up and gets whipped by John Leguizamo, and he takes photos of him for some sort of work thing, but it's not done in a weird, gross way. It's a bit of fun, right? And he's just this very kind of strange, very kind of quirky New York character, and it's a lot of like humor in it. But then also there's a bit of damage there. Again, all the things I love about John Leguizamo is when he does nuance and he does there's a different kind of messaging that he's putting out there. And I just think he really, really smashed this role. It's kind of like up there with kind of my favorite type of John Leguizamo, which is, quirky and funny and a bit of a fun little sidekick role, but with so much more there. And I just wanted to put that in there. And he wears a cool red dressing gown.
So what dropped it down from a 5 to a 4.5? Because it sounds so iconic.
Needed a bit more time.
Right, it's quite a small role.
Quite a small role.
Yeah.
He also gets pegged in it. We nearly see him get pegged.
Right.
Which is also a bit of fun. And yeah, there's, like I said, there's a lot of damage in the character, but there's also a real kind of like kindness, an almost mentor-y role if your mentor was a fucking lunatic. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Love that, Mish. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome, Tom. Thank you for letting me tack this on the end there.
The Mish and Zach Podcast is recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We believe that our collective culture will never reach its full potential until we embrace the history and the truth of the oldest cultures of this land.